Hello dear students, in animal classification, today let us continue with the next phylum, that is Phylum Platyhelminthus. Let us see what are the characteristics of this phylum. Now in this phylum animals have a slender, flat body like a leaf or strip. Hence, they are generally referred to as flatworms. Now, actually the word Platyhelminthes, platy itself tells you that it is plate-like or flat. So, these animals are flat, okay, or maybe like a leaf, and therefore they are also called as flatworms. Let's see what are other characteristics of these animals, okay. So, they are endoparasites. You might have heard about the different modes of nutrition. So one of the mode of nutrition is parasitic mode of nutrition. A parasite is the one which lives either within or outside the host organism and derives the nutrition for itself. Whereas it does not give anything to the host organism. Host organism means the one and the animal in whose body these organisms are staying. So those who are staying, they are called as parasites. So these parasites suck the nutrition of the host organism. Okay. So in this case, they are also parasitic mode of nutrition and they are endoparasite. Endo means they live within the body of the organism. That means inside the body of the organism. You can see in these pictures, two pictures, you can see there are worms in the body of a goat as well as in the body of a cow. So most of these animals are endoparasites, whereas few are living as free living and aquatic. Free living means alone, lonely, alone they are doing the entire work. Okay, so they are either free living or maybe parasitic in nature, and if they are parasitic then they will be endoparasites, and free living then they are mostly found in the water, like in the case of planaria you have heard in the second lesson also, which has the capacity to regenerate. So this is a free living and aquatic. Fine, let us see what are other characteristics. Both of these animals, body of these animals is acylomate. Acylomate means there is no presence of a body cavity. Fine, there is no presence of a body cavity. And when we see the symmetry is bilaterally symmetrical. That means you can divide it only in one axis, and that too lateral axis, okay, into two halves. So that symmetry you have learned that is bilateral. So it shows it is acylomate and bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, let us see what are other characters. So you have also learned that they are made up of germ layers, okay, in the embryonic stages of their development. So these germ layers may be either diploblastic or triploblastic, correct? So in the case of Cnidaria, I have learned that they are diploblastic. That means there were only two layers, whereas now we have come little higher for higher evolution now. That is, these animals which are after Cnidaria are triploblastic. That means they have three germ layers, that is ectoderm, endoderm, and the middle one is mesoderm. So what we have learned now in this, they are either free living or they are parasitic. That means they are found inside the body of the organism. Then they are called as endoparasites. Why they are called as flatworms? Why? Because their body is slender and flat or leaf-like. Therefore, they are also called as flatworms. They are acylomates. That means they do not have a body cavity at all. Okay, germ layers are triploblastic. Fine, and they have a bilaterally symmetrical body. Okay, fine. Now let us see what are the other characters of this. So about the reproduction. So they have sexual type of reproduction, but most of them are hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means what? They are bisexual, means in one organism itself both the sexes are present. Fine. So two sexes, that is male and female, are present within the body of a single animal. Okay, so that is why they are also called as either bisexual or hermaphrodite. If the sexes male and female are different, then they will be called as unisexual organisms. Fine. Now let us see what are other characters. Okay, so this is regarding the characteristics. So examples let us see now. Some common animals that are classified under Phylum Platyhelminthus are tapeworm, okay, which is mostly found as intestinal parasite. Okay, tapeworm, which is very very long and slender, fine, and very flat. Okay, so it is mostly found in the guts of the goat, and liver fluke is found in the guts of the cow. So these are endoparasite, whereas planaria, which is a free living organism, it is found in aquatic habitat. Fine. Now this is regarding Platyhelminthes. Now let us little go further now. Okay, higher evolution, that is the next phylum, that is Phylum Aschelminthes. Fine. So these are also worms. But how are they different from Platyhelminthes? Platyhelminthes, they were flat, whereas these Aschelminthes are round in shape or cylindrical in shape. And since they are cylindrical in shape, they are called as roundworms. Fine. So they are also long and thread-like structures. But only difference in between those worms and these worms are, these are roundworms because they are cylindrical in nature, whereas Platyhelminthes were flat. Fine. So these are called as roundworms and Platyhelminthes were called as flatworms. So you have to remember, students, if the question is asked, dash are called as flatworms or dash are called as roundworms. Fine. So you should be able to answer the questions. Next. So these animals again are either free living or they are also found as endoparasites. Again the same characteristic. They were also found as endoparasites and they were also free living. So here these are either free living or endoparasites, and they may be not only free living, may be found not only in aquatic habitat but even in the terrestrial habitat also you can find them. That is on the land also you can find these free living worms. Fine. So these free living forms are either aquatic or terrestrial. Now bodies of these animals is non-segmented. That means there is no segmentation. As I have mentioned to you, segments are the smaller units which are at a similar distance, same distance. They are called as segments. So segments we will see now in the next group, they will have the presence of segments. So here the body is non-segmented and covered with a cuticle. Now what is the cuticle? Cuticle actually is a shiny or waxy coating. Okay, it is a waxy coating, and since it is a waxy coating, it has a shine. Okay, so all these worms are very shiny in nature. Why? Because they have the presence of a cuticle above their skin, which makes them shiny. Again, they are triploblastic. Now in the case of Platyhelminthes, they were Aschelminthes. Aschelminthes means no body cavity was there. But in this case, if you see, they are called as Pseudocylomids. That means, coelom is present, but it is a false type of coelom. It is not a true coelom. Therefore, they are called a pseudo. Pseudo means false, as I mentioned to you in the previous video also. So, pseudo means false body cavity. So, little higher evolution again. Platyhelminthes were Aschelminthes. Now, Aschelminthes are Pseudocylomids. Other characters are similar. Fine, they are triploblastic. That means there are 3 layers. Okay. Again, they are bilaterally symmetrical. They are what is that? One more thing. What is that? Triploblastic. Okay. So these characters are common, and endoparasites. Of course, they are endoparasites. Now, in the case of Platyhelminthes, you have seen that reproduction. Both the male and female are in the same animal. That means they were called as hermaphrodite. But these are unisexual. That means what? Male and female are separate here. So you can see one of the example of the roundworm, that is male ascaris, which is mostly found in intestine of the human beings. Fine. So these male ascaris and female ascaris, from this you can come to know that they are unisexual, not hermaphrodite or not bisexual. Bisexual means 2 sexes are in the same organism, or hermaphrodite means 2 sexes in one organism. Whereas unisexual means the male and female are separate. So in this case, little higher they have reproduction. Now sexual reproduction, male and female are separate. So this is regarding the characteristics. Now which are the examples of this? Okay, so some of the examples of the animals belonging to this phylum are ascaris, which is intestinal worm, especially found in the human beings. Fine. Then filarial worm, also called as elephantiasis, it causes filaria. Okay. And loa is an eye worm, that means which causes an infection in the eye. So that is called as, that worm is called as loa. Okay, we commonly called as eye worm. So this is regarding the phylum Aschelminthes. Now next let us continue with the next phylum, that is phylum Annelida. Okay, now this phylum Annelida, you are aware of this organism, right? Have you seen this somewhere? Yes, you have seen it during the rainy season, okay, especially in the mud, okay, because they have a burrowing habit, they are found inside the soil. These animals make the soil very, what to say, soft, correct, no? Why? Because they are making this soil soft by killing, making it fertile. Fine, they are also called as the friend of the farmer. So you must have realized now what I am talking about. Yes, I am talking about the phylum in which you will find earthworm. Okay, so this animal you are aware of, this is called as earthworm. Okay, and how is their structure? Now this phylum, animals of this phylum are long. I don't have to tell you, I have seen the earthworm, they are long, cylindrical in shape, metamerically segmented. Metamerically segmented means uniform units are present on, or segments are there on the entire body. Therefore, they are called as metamerically segmented. You can see cylindrical as well as metamerically segmented. You can see the segments on the body of the earthworm. Then their body is also shiny, and this shine is because of a special covering called as the cuticle. This cuticle is actually a waxy coating, okay, so which gives the shine to the organism. Like for example, in the case of adu, you might have eaten in the rainy season adu, right? Colocasia, it also has a shine because it has the presence of a layer called as cuticle. So even in the animals also this waxy coating is present, that is called as cuticle, which gives the shiny appearance to the organisms. So they have a special character, that is a special cuticle, and also for locomotion, that means they have to move from one place to another. There are different types of organs. They have either setae, as in the case of earthworm, then they have the presence of parapodia like in the case of nereis, and sucker in the case of leeches. So leeches, these all three are the examples of the this phylum, that is phylum Annelida. Is that clear? So remember here what are the characters? They are, of course they are found in the terrestrial habitat, as well as some of them are found in the aquatic habitat also. Okay, they are long, cylindrical, metamerically segmented, fine, bilaterally symmetrical. Then they have a waxy coating, that is a cuticle above them, and for locomotion they are having setae, parapodia or sucker. Now about their reproduction, if we talk about, they are either unisexual or bisexual. That means unisexual or hermaphrodite. So most of these animals are free living, but few are ectoparasites. Yes, now what is meant by free living? I have told you, like earthworm lives on its own, so it is called as a free living, whereas ectoparasite means what now? Endoparasite you have learnt now in the case of Platyhelminthes and Aschelminthes. They are called endoparasite. That means they live inside the body of the organism. Whereas ectoparasites, where do they live? They are sucking the blood of the human beings. So from outside. Ecto means from outside. So they are parasitic, but they are parasite from outside the body of the organism. So these leeches are, have a special characteristic. They are meant for sucking the, especially the, what to say, toxic blood from the impure blood, not toxic blood, impure blood it sucks. Fine. And if you want to purify your blood and all, you can take a Ayurvedic treatment by using these leeches, because they suck the impure blood and what remains is only the pure blood in the body. So for in Ayurveda, leeches are, commonly used for the treatment. Okay, now so they are called as ecto, means they are living outside the body. Now they are either when they are found in free form, then they are either marine water or fresh water, or earthworm is a terrestrial organism. Fine. Body of these animals again is triploblastic, metamerically segmented, bilaterally symmetrical, not acylomid. They have the presence of true cylom. That means they are also called eucoelomids. Okay, they are called as eucoelomid. And from Annelida, I have mentioned to you before also when I was teaching About the new system of classification, criteria of new system of classification, I mentioned to you that they have this presence of coelom from the phylum Annelida. So here is Annelida now. You can see a true coelom here. So this is also called as a eucoelomid. Okay. So these, and as I have mentioned to you previously, that they are either a hermaphrodite, that is bisexual, or maybe unisexual, that is male and female are different. Okay, fine. So now let us see which are the common examples here. The common examples include earthworm, leech, nereis. Fine. Now let us see some of the amazing facts regarding this phylum, because there is, so many organisms are very useful from this. Now as you know, earthworm is called as the friend of the farmer. It's because it improves aeration of the soil by making the soil soft. Fine. And as well as it helps in water retention capacity of the soil. That means the water holding capacity, there is something called as water holding capacity. So since it improves the aerates the soil, that means air can pass through inside very nicely, as well as it helps the soil to hold the water. That is also called as water retention or water holding capacity of the soil. So that is why earthworm is also called as a friend of the farmer. Now how it is doing this? It is doing this by burrowing. It has a habit called as burrowing habit. So all the earthworms have a burrowing habit. It goes inside by burrowing the soil and makes that soil friable, aerate the soil, and also helps in the water holding capacity of the soil. Therefore, earthworm feed on the soil particles and dead and decaying matter present in the soil, and therefore it is one of the organism which is used for vermi composting. I hope so you have heard about this vermi composting. Worm means earthworm, compost means to convert the soil into a fertile soil, that is called as a compost. So it is what is done is that waste, kitchen waste or any household waste which is not the dry waste, I'm talking about the wet waste, which is mostly the kitchen waste or garden waste, can be converted into a very good manure, very good compost by the use of these earthworms. So this process also called as vermi composting. Fine. So vermicompost improves the nutritional value of the soil, because here it is very rich in the nutrients. This composted soil is very rich in nutrients, and this is all done because of the earthworm, because it can convert these unwanted things into something which is very useful by making that soil very nutritive. Fine. Then therefore earthworm is known as the friend of the farmers. Now next thing is leeches can be used in Ayurvedic system of treatment, as I have mentioned to you previously, because they are used for sucking the impure blood, so that only pure blood is left in the human beings. Fine. So leeches mainly feed on the blood of the mammals. So this therapy is also called a leech therapy. And then, according to Ayurveda, leech at the first bite only sucks impure blood from the skin, and only the pure blood is left. See, so nice it is, right? Fine. Now, next let us go to the next phylum, that is Phylum Arthropoda, which is the largest group of animals, first largest group of animals in the whole world, or you can say on the earth. So now what is this arthropoda? Arthros means jointed. Have you seen a cockroach any time? You might have seen, definitely, of course. So arthros means jointed, like how our fingers, each of the bone is joined for a finger. 3 joints are there. The same way in the case of arthropods also, they have feet. Poda means what? Feet or appendages. So these feet are actually joined. You can see a cockroach over here, the picture of the cockroach also. You can understand why it is called a jointed, and podas means feet or appendages. Therefore, the name is arthropoda. So, all the insects in this entire world belongs to this one phylum, that is arthropoda, which is considered to be the largest group of animals. Okay, so remember, dear student, it might be asked for the during exam, which is the largest phylum of the animal kingdom. So you will have to answer about arthropoda. Fine. Now let us continue. Planet Earth has largest number of animals from this phylum. Okay, so all the different insects, ant, you say scorpion, prawn, you can say butterfly, and then mosquitoes, all the different types of flies in the whole world belongs to this phylum, that is Arthropoda. So hence this is the largest phylum with highly successful animals in the animal kingdom. Why they are called as successful? I have heard once that if suppose earth is turned over, or earth is getting over by somehow it gets over, but only animal which can come back is the cockroach. That means this animal have very successful in adaptation. They have adapted to themselves in so severe condition, very severe conditions, like deepest oceans to the highest mountains they are found. So you can see over here the animals are found in all types of habitats, ranging from deepest oceans to highest mountains. So imagine ocean, and that to deepest, nobody can survive. Why? Because there is lot of pressure above, the person, if suppose anybody goes inside, cannot go very deep inside, because the pressure of the water goes on increasing as you go deeper and deeper. Fine. As well as there is low amount of oxygen, sometimes may not be oxygen also, there is no light conditions also, right? So therefore nobody can survive there, but arthropods can survive. Okay, so this is one of the peculiarity. Then highest mountains also, again you can see certain animals are found in of this phylum are also found on the highest mountains. So highest mountain also, when you go higher and higher, the oxygen level goes on decreasing, which is very important for respiration of the higher animals, like all the different phyla which have the presence of gill slits and all, or for lungs for respiration. Now these animals do not require gill slits and all, because they do not respire. Fine. So these animals are found in all types of habitat, ranging from deepest oceans to highest mountains. So remember, they are highly successful animals and the largest group of animals. Then their body is again triploblastic. Now I don't have to tell you what is triploblastic. I'll just mention to you now. Now eucoelomate. Now coelom has started, so they will be called as eucoelomate. Of course, they are bilaterally symmetrical. You can cut it into only in one axis. Okay, and segmented body, like how annelids were segmented, they are also segmented. If you just try to catch a cockroach and try to remove its wings, you will find that there are segments on the body. Even a prawn, if you take, a prawn also has a segmented body. So this shows you that they are having segments on the body. And of course they have 3 pairs of appendages. 3 pairs of appendages means 3 legs this side, 3 legs this side. So it is also called as 3, though it is not mentioned in your textbook, but it is also one of the important characters. You have to remember that all the arthropods have 3 pairs of appendages. That means 6 legs or 6 feet they have. Fine. Now next let us see. Now body is segmented. Then they have exoskeleton. They have exoskeleton. There is no endoskeleton, because these are all called as non-chordates, because they do not have a notochord, but they have a protective system for them, which is called as exoskeleton. Exo means outside. We have a skeleton inside, a vertebral column or notochord inside, but they have a skeleton outside, and that when it is on the outside of the body, it is called as exoskeleton. And you might have seen that if suppose this cockroach dies and all, if you see the wing of it, it is very crispy in nature. Now why is that? It's because it is made up of a chemical called as chitin. Now what is that? Chitin is one of the sugar, okay, that you don't require to know about it. Fine. So chitin, this exoskeleton is made up of chitin. Okay, that is why that crispy nature is there for that. Fine. Next. So these animals are of course unisexual. That means male and female is different. Fine. Then which are the animals which belongs to this kingdom, phylum, are crabs. Crabs are also included in this. Spiders, scorpion, millipede, centipede, cockroach, all when you find, you feel itchiness, correct? No? So crab, of course, yes, I like the crabs. You might be also liking the crabs, and even our prawns also come in this. Spider, my god, I don't like. Scorpion, millipede, centipede. Millipede, the one which just touch it in during the rainy season, which is brown, maroon to brown in color, and when if you just touch it, it will just become like a zameen chakra, right? That is called as a millipede. And centipedes, cockroach, a centipede is caneti. Then you can see the picture of a canary here, centipede and cockroach, butterfly, honeybees. You can see all the segments on their body. Everybody has segments on their body. Fine. So these are all examples of the arthropods. Now let us see some of the facts, amazing facts about this. Arthropods like butterflies and honeybees are called as pollinating agent. That means they help in the pollination. Pollination is another topic which I am not going to deal right now because it's a big topic. Fine, it helps in pollination transfer of pollen from one flower to another so that the flower can get fertilized later on. Fine, so this is not required right now. You just remember that butterflies and honeybees are also called as pollinating agents. Then honeybees collect honey, of course, and it is honey is very tasty. It is used in Ayurvedic preparation. It is good for health. Okay, and also bee wax can be prepared from this, and from bee wax also lipsticks and all are prepared from the bee wax and all. So remember this. So bee wax is also very important. Even candles are prepared from the bee wax. So remember, from the hive whatever you get is the bee wax. Then of course we cannot say only good things about arthropods. There are also bad things like cockroaches and all spread lot of diseases, different types of diseases. I mean food poisoning and all. If the cockroach sits on the food and if you eat that same food, then it may cause food poisoning. Of course this is one of the harmful effect of this, and some of the you can get certain diseases like this. Fine. Then one more important fact is that you might have heard about a dragonfly or a mayfly. So dragonfly is very peculiarity about is that it is having the shortest lifespan on the earth. Among the animals, all animals, it has the shortest lifespan. Why? Because it remains viable, it remains live only for 24 hours. So my dear students, if you are tying the string and all for the mayfly or for the dragonfly, please don't do that, because it is living only for one day, and let them live peacefully. Okay, so because they have a very short lifespan, only for 24 hours. So remember this is one of the fact. So it might be also asked. And then you can see there are varieties of mayflies. Okay, you can see there are different species of the mayflies in the whole world. Okay, so this is regarding the mayfly. Then we have in fact some members of the mayfly family die within few hours also, not only 24 hours but even within few hours. So it has shortest lifespan. Next, lifespan of a termite. You might have seen termite, or I don't know what you call it in Marathi, but termites also, termite hills you see in the house sometimes. Okay, they can live between from 2 to 50 years. So they have a very long lifespan, though they are very very small, but their lifespan is very big, that is from 2 to 50 years. Okay, then insects belong to the largest phylum, Phylum Arthropoda. All the different insects what you see, house fly, mayfly, then all the butterflies. Okay, all these are belonging to arthropods. And there are some flies also which spoils the cultivated crops and all, and only insects directly compete with humans for food. You can see how they are spoiling so many of them, right? So this is one of the harmful effect about them. So this is regarding the 4 phylums what we have learned today. That is, one is Platyhelminthes, second is Aschelminthes, third Annelida, and fourth Arthropoda. So next we will be dealing with the other remaining phylums. So I hope so you have understood, students. So thank you, till then, bye, take care.